I mean, it's Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday morning, and kind of a unique situation. Normally, this show is supposed to be after the Thursday night football game, but because of the lightning delay, the game's actually still going on. So we got a live, not a feed of the game, just like the a screenshot of what's happening. The Cowboys just punted back to the Eagles. There's 4 minutes and 43 seconds remaining, 24-20. Trying to win my first NFL bet of the year. Cowboys plus a touchdown, which means Saquon Barkley's about to break a long one to bust the cover. That's how it goes. Duck from the Action Network is here. How was your weekend, Duck?
Good. I had a fantastic week one. It was a fun weekend of college football. Had a lot of winners that got to the window, and now we're on to week two. We got to stay hungry, and I've been in the lab all week trying to find winners, and so we got a full card, and it's going to be a really great weekend of football starting tonight, I guess. It's midnight on the East Coast, so.
Yeah, I got to say, I personally, I had a losing week one. I did well in week 0, losing week 1, and as I was placing the bets in week 2, I got a lot of good numbers, and I was like, man, I should have just went light in week 1 personally because I didn't do too well. But yeah, I'm liking some of my positions in week 2. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Liberty, Jacksonville State. So this was actually not the way we do it is I let whoever's coming on pick what games they want to talk about. This was not one of his games. So real quick, the reason I included it is I have a bet in it. Pretty simple explanation. I don't know how this is still under 7. I saw Liberty minus 5.5. I was like, get the hell, what? So I'm on Liberty. I would still bet it at 6.5. Anything 7 or below. I honestly think these two teams on a neutral might be 2 touchdowns apart. I think this is a really good number. I'm not really sure what it's based on. Are we really that concerned with what we saw against Maine last week? I mean, keep in mind, the final score is 28-7. The Liberty offense looked stagnant for a lot of the game. Maine had 1 touchdown run, 77 yards. Other than that, they did nothing in the game. Nothing. So I'm not overreacting to the Maine game. At Jacksonville State, if you're unfamiliar with Jacksonville State, they lost everybody. Rich Rodriguez is gone. The whole roster is gone. And what are we impressed that they hung with UCF in the opener? UCF is also a mess. Scott Frost has got FCS pieces all over that starting lineup on both sides of the ball. So I don't really understand why we're getting this below 7. So yeah, I'm on Liberty. I don't understand it. Is there something I'm missing? Why are we getting such a good number here?
Sauce, I think you hit it right on the head. I think this is market overreaction because you had a 26.5 point favorite in Liberty that was really struggling with Maine. That game was tied 7-7 going into the fourth quarter. Liberty had several scoring opportunities and chances throughout the first 3 quarters and just could not punch it in. You were so right that Maine had the cheap touchdown right away on a 77-yard touchdown run, but Liberty defense looked really, really good. I think you've got people looking at the final score there. We've got UCF and Jacksonville State that was on Thursday night in week 1, and I think people were impressed at how Jacksonville State kind of hung in that game. It was delayed a little while for weather, and I took away from that UCF is really, really bad, and not specifically at all that Jacksonville State was good. When you dive into some of the metrics here for Jacksonville State, it was ugly. They had, third down, they were not good. Gavin Wimsatt didn't impress me with how he threw the football. The rushing game was just kind of middling for Jacksonville State, a far cry from what they were last year when Tyler Huff was leading the platoon. I think we're getting a little line value just based on last week's results. I think Liberty's the better team. I think they're going to win this game. I think this is one that they had circled all offseason in red ink. This is a complete revenge spot. This is the one that they have to get. And, the thing about that with Liberty is there's really no easing into the conference schedule and kind of not really taking it seriously in the non-con because they have this game right away in conference play. And then next week you have a de facto G5 loser leaves town sort of game between them and James Madison. Loser is probably going to get knocked out. So,
Yep.
I mean, it's pedal to the metal here for Liberty. I think they have the better quarterback play. I think they have superior coaching. I think they have a better scheme. I don't care that it's on the road. I bet Liberty at under a touchdown. I have this bet in pocket with you, so we'll be sweating this thing together and assume we get to the window together.
Assume we get to the window is right. Yeah, I do like this one, and I if they don't cover this and they struggle through this game, I swear if I don't see some Jamie Chadwell criticism, I'm gonna be upset because everyone has kid gloves when they talk about this guy. I swear no one ever criticizes this guy. So if they struggle with Jacksonville State, I better hear some Jamie Chadwell criticism.
Yeah, and I think too, just the last thing we'll do to put a bow on this, they did win the game against Maine by 3 touchdowns. They pulled away in the fourth quarter. Ethan Vasco threw the ball pretty well, threw for 200 yards, threw 3 touchdowns in his first game back in this system. He was recruited by Chadwell at Coastal Carolina to run this offense, and then Chadwell dips out and he sticks around and they're running a completely different show. So I think there was a little rust, a little kind of working the kinks out. The rushing offense still ran for 200 yards at 5 yards a carry. So I think Liberty will be just fine here. I really think we'll see as Jacksonville State continues on through their season, depth will be an issue. This team stinks.
I agree.
They do. They do. We'll see it on Saturday morning.
And I like how you said about the UCF. Your takeaway was that UCF looks terrible, not that Jacksonville State looks strong, because same in lockstep with that. Moving on to the next game, and that next game is North Texas, Western Michigan. And I don't know what you're about to say. I haven't heard you. I didn't hear you talk about this one on the Bet US show. I have not heard your take on this game. I have a feeling we're going to disagree. I'm close to betting this one. So real quick, shout out to North Texas. Not the 51 points they scored. That's not new. The shutout they pitched. Maybe Skylar Cassidy is bringing a new era of North Texas football here. So go ahead, North Texas, Western Michigan. What do you think?
Well, so there's a couple of different things that are going on here with this one that I really like for the position that I took with the game. First of all, you've got a completely revamped North Texas defense. Their bugaboo for years has been that they couldn't field a defense that could get stops, and so they would lose these 52-45 type of shootouts. Well, that's completely changed. Skylar Cassidy was drawing it up really well all summer. They've got an influx of talent that they brought in from Sam Houston State. I actually margin called North Texas last week. We bet them against the number, and then I took 3 or 4 different alt lines, and they all came through on North Texas. They were just completely locked in on defense, and it wasn't just the competition. It was how they played defense, the cohesiveness, flying to the football, playing with attitude, something we haven't seen at North Texas for 6 or 7 years. So that was just really good to see there. The thing I like about this too, I have 2 plays on the game. I split this. I did a 3/4 of a unit on each. I took the full game under, and I took Western Michigan's team total under 24.5. Now, we look at Western Michigan. They were on the wrong end of a 23-6 defeat at Michigan State last week. The Broncos defense was projected to be a really bad MAC defense this season, but they really hung in there against the overmatched Spartans. WMU made it really difficult for Michigan State to operate offensively most of the night. Michigan State averaged less than 5 yards a play, and they only had 4 explosive plays. When you look at some of the contests that Western Michigan played in last season, they were just shredded up and down the field by MAC competition. Well, I'm here to tell you, Michigan State did not do that to them. The Broncos secured 4 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. Their defense really did come to play. Now, the offense was really bad. They only achieved 10 first downs, 217 total yards on 57 plays. They rotated back and forth between 2 different quarterbacks, so they're a little bit unsettled there. In this game here, I think that we're going to see North Texas's defense really show up here. I think Western Michigan is going to struggle to do much of anything offensively like they did last week, but the Western Michigan defense also impressed me enough to think that I think they can remain competitive here at home in this one. The factor for me that's really important here, go look at the weather forecast here. We're going to be at 15 to 18 mile an hour sustained winds with 26 mile an hour gusts in Kalamazoo, Michigan for this one. That's going to affect field goal kicking. It's going to affect passing. This is a complete dead shoot under here. And so I split the wager between the full game under and Western Michigan's team total under. I think both of these teams are going to struggle to score.
It's tough to, so I don't have a bet on the game. It's tough to put your finger on. I'm going to put Western Michigan plus the 10 up. That's the way I'm leaning. I am not as sold on the North Texas defense as you seem to be. It was a great performance. They pitched a shutout, and they did bring in Skylar Cassidy. Maybe this is the start of a new era here at North Texas. But I remember last year in the offseason saying, guys, this is the year North Texas defense is going to come around, and then it just didn't. So I'm not going to overreact to one game against Lamar. I need to see more before I trust an Eric Morris defense. That's for sure. And also the Western Michigan offense looked awful against Michigan State last week. I mean, 3.8 yards per play. They scored 6 points, and it wasn't even the offense. It was a late pick six. That's how they scored 6 points. So the Western Michigan offense looked awful. But Brock Lowry is a quarterback that uses his legs. They're using two quarterbacks there. I honestly think they're able to stay on the field a little bit. I don't disagree with an under. The where I can't put my finger on it, you mentioned it. Western Michigan's defense actually did a decent job last week against Michigan State. They had trouble getting off the field, but they were limiting big plays. I mean, Michigan State only had like 4.9 yards per play or something in that game. So Western Michigan's defense actually did a decent job, but this is a defense where, rewind a week ago, I was saying I think this Western Michigan defense is going to be terrible. So it's just shocking that we saw Western Michigan and North Texas come out in the opener and both played solid defense. Well, North Texas played amazing defense. Western Michigan played a decent defensive game. Michigan State scored 23 points. So, look, North Texas looks like the much stronger team. Obviously, they're going to have the more powered offense by a mile. But I'm going to have to pump the brakes before I'm laying double digits on the road with an Eric Morris team. You're going to have to – I'm going to need to see 2 or 3 solid defensive games before I trust it.
Oh yeah, definitely not looking to lay road chalk here by any stretch. I think you could probably end up at the window if you take the home dog here with 10 or find a 10.5 someplace.
Yeah, agreed.
In a low scoring 20-13 type of game.
Yeah, I don't hate that under, especially because I think Western Michigan's plan is just going to be stay on the field, just as long as you can stay on the field.
Dude, their defense was so impressive, though, going up against a Big Ten foe on the road. 4 out of 13 for Michigan State on third down and less than 5 yards of play. And they were on the field a lot. Michigan State ran 68 plays, but Western Michigan hung in there until the very end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They played. I was looking at the numbers for that. I was like, wow, this defense played stronger than I even thought. I've switched us over to the next game, which is Fresno, Oregon State in Corvallis. I'm going to pass the ball right to you on this one. The 2 data points we have from Fresno are wild. I have no idea what to think about this team. So you have the floor. What do you think about this game?
I mean, Oregon State was just so disappointing last week at home. It was like 3 drives in, and it was like, whoa, this team cannot be on the same field as California. They couldn't defend the pass. They couldn't stop the run. It was just really shocking to see how bad this team looked. And then Malik Murphy was just almost checked out in the first half. It was just stunning to see this team look so bad. It's hard to really pinpoint exactly what it was that happened. You know, we saw it with Washington State as well. So these teams are really just falling into this black hole of living in independent football and not recruiting the Pac-12 athletes any longer. And you're just seeing this complete talent void through all 3 levels of the defense and on offense too from both those teams. So, I mean, I think Oregon State's going to struggle here. We finally saw Fresno figure out kind of what they wanted to be with their identity in the second half against Georgia Southern. They were really able to run the ball. They were getting the tight ends involved in the passing game. I mean, Fresno State looked really sharp. That was kind of the Fresno State team that I thought we would see in the opener, and it just took a little while for it to click. So, you know, to be honest with you, I think Fresno State will come in here and they should have all the confidence in the world to be able to give these guys a game. I think Fresno State will win this game on the field. Forget the points. I don't need 2. I don't need 3. I would play Fresno State on the money line here. In fact, I have. What do you think?
Well, I don't have a strong opinion on the game. Like I said, I feel like I don't know anything. Where's my Fresno State graphic? I can't find it. Whatever. I'll put it up. I'll type it on the screen or something. Yeah, like I said, I don't really have a feel for this Fresno team based on the 2 data points we've seen. I will say Georgia Southern, dude, that defense, that was a terrible defense last year, and they lost the best defensive player in the conference in Watson Trent. So, like, you took a terrible defense and then took away their superstar. So, I don't know anything about this, enough about this Fresno team to make a declaration either way, but I will say lighting up Georgia Southern certainly isn't moving the needle for me. I have no idea. I was kind of wanted to. If this was a night game, I think I would take the Beavers in Corvallis. But I can't. I can't do it. I can't in good faith put a Oregon State graphic under my face here. Wow, they look bad.
Yeah, and the thing too is Fresno finally got that run game rolling 8 yards per game. They ran for 350 yards against Georgia Southern, but it was also the passing game. We finally saw E.J. Warner look comfortable back there. He completed 75% of his passes. He kind of just, started getting some of the tight ends involved in the pass receiving game, which is what they want to be. And they got two capable running backs in Rayshawn Luke and Bryson Donaldson, who each had 100 yards in their last game against Georgia Southern. If they can keep those legs fresh and they can get into the fourth quarter of this game and have the offensive line kind of lean in on those defenders for Oregon State, certainly can. They'll be back and forth. I think it'll be close, but I think Fresno State has just as good a chance as Oregon State to win this game.
Yeah, I'm passing. It looks like the Eagles are kneeling on the ball, by the way. I think it's over. UAB, it's 24-20, so it looks, I don't want to say anything because Sirianni is always down to hang a late touchdown to screw over a cover. Like, he's down to do it. So I'm not celebrating a win until it's over. UAB Navy, we all know what happened last year. They just steamrolled. It was 31-3. The points UAB scored in that game came late. So the final score was like 44-21 or something. It was worse than that. It was an absolute beatdown. And oh man, I feel so bad for Trent Dilfer. Honestly, it's rough out there. Is there any reason to be optimistic here if you're a UAB fan or UAB in this matchup? Is there any positivity here?
I actually think so. I think that the Navy defense can be beaten in their secondary, and I think UAB will have a scheme put together that they'll be able to pass on Navy in this game. I firmly believe. My play is on the over. My play is on over 59. I think that this is going to fly over. When you look at what UAB did last week against a really bad SWAC offense in Alabama State, they surrendered 8 yards per play and gave up 514 yards to Alabama State. It's just stunning to look at a team like that. They threw the ball for 312 yards. Andrew Body is the quarterback at Alabama State, threw for 312 and 4 touchdowns without a pick. The Hornets ran for 202 and 8 yards of play. You're not going to win a lot of football games doing that. And so then when you dive a little bit deeper into the box score, that was not garbage time stats for Alabama State. They were up 28-17 in that game against UAB. This defense is just so leaky and cannot stop anything. So you look at an offense like that, and now you've got to double back and prepare for the chronic wing T. What I suspect is that Navy will get the run game humming with Teska and Blake Horvath at quarterback, and they'll kind of have to see those UAB safeties creep up, and then it'll be patented Navy passing where they'll pop the slot backs through into up the seam, or you'll get a receiver that runs a route and a defender falls asleep and has his eyes checking in the backfield. And I think at least 3 times in this game we'll see long Navy passing touchdowns where the guy's just running wide open due to busted coverage. If Alabama State was able to get them like that, Navy will have no issue with that. But again, I think UAB is going to throw it around. We got Jalen Kitna, who's got a lot of confidence this season, threw a couple touchdown passes against Alabama State, and they've actually got some dudes in the backfield. Solomon Beebe and Javon Jackson are really solid running backs. They've even got another guy, Isaiah Jacobs, who can pop off too. So I think UAB can actually do enough here to stay within this number, but I have this game soaring over, and I've got it going over comfortably. I've got this at like 42-30. So yeah, I think we're going to see a score fest. I think that Navy will probably run for 400 yards. And I would assume that UAB, last year's meeting, which ended 41-18, UAB did leave some points on the field as well. They had a couple red zone turnovers and they were stopped on downs, pretty close to the scoring zone too. So that score could have been a little bit closer. I think this year's score will be closer, but I mean, there's going to be so many points on the field in this game. It'll be staggering.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you were saying, that you believe UAB should be able to complete some passes on Navy. I kind of had the same sentiment. Going into last year, we were pretty excited for Jacob Zeno at quarterback, but it clearly worked better when they made the switch over to Kitna. And like you said, Kitna's playing with some confidence. And the reason I brought that up is last year when they played and it was 31-3 Navy in the third quarter or whatever, that was Jacob Zeno at quarterback. So we got Kitna, who, like I think we can all agree, if you look at the numbers, UAB's offense does seem to work better with. I have this one at around 17.5. So, theoretically, I'm supposed to take the plus 21.5. But, do I actually have the stones to pull the trigger on that? The answer is no. I do. Look, like he was talking about, I don't think you're going to find much on paper that indicates UAB is going to make stops here against Navy. I just don't think you're going to find it. But I think you can find avenues to UAB scoring some points. So, yeah, I put the over up, but I'm just telling you. I was kind of indifferent about this game. I just put over up. I might even bet this with you.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get a lot of real solid takeaways from Navy's victory over VMI, which we were on Navy last week, and we got the front door cover with 5 minutes left. They were really vanilla offensively. They didn't show a lot. They kind of just ran what they're going to line up and run without a lot of razzle-dazzle. Horvath only played the first half. He didn't take a single snap in the second half. But what I will say that I took away from Navy is that in situations where they're running the backup quarterback, they are going to run the ball. They let him throw it a little bit, did Braxton Woodson, and he ran for 180 yards on 7 carries. So he's got this game breaker type of potential. He's got a lot of speed. And if they're ever going to have to operate with the backup quarterback, they got him some meaningful reps there. And I have full confidence that Navy's going to be able to still pursue scoring opportunities with him in there. So just because they pull the plug on Horvath in a blowout doesn't mean Navy's going to stop scoring.
Yeah. I might end up betting this with you, this over. Next one. All right. Army, Kansas State. Am I crazy? This is my stance, and I don't even know if this is a hot take or anything. Is it crazy to say that I think Kansas State is fine, and I think that everyone's overreacting a little bit? I mean, they lost an overseas game to Iowa State. Guys, I think Iowa State's one of the strongest teams in the entire country. I had them ranked number 7 coming into the season. A close loss that came down to the wire overseas against Iowa State is not – that team can beat anybody. Iowa State's very, very good. They're very well coached. So, I mean, whatever. That's a tough loss. And then what happened last week? Okay, yeah, you came out a little bit flat and let an FCS team play tough. You had to come from behind. Not the best look, but if you actually look at those numbers in the North Dakota game, Kansas State's defense, I mean, there's 3.1 yards per carry they allowed, 6.5 yards per pass attempt. I mean, the numbers don't look bad. Success rate per rush under 35%, running the ball against them. Kansas State's, I still have all the faith in the world in Kansas State's defensive front. I think they roll Army. You with me?
Yeah, I am with you. I already have this bet made in pocket. I took Kansas State minus 16.5. It's already one I've got on the card. I think the narrative on Kansas State has changed so drastically from just 2 short weeks ago when they were the preseason co-favorite in the Big 12. And, they had a couple tough schedule spots early. You go across the pond to Ireland, you lose that game, you have to fly home with a conference loss already under your belt, and then you got to try to get up for an FCS foe when your season is already kind of starting to slide off the tracks, and they just really didn't show up against North Dakota. We kind of knew they wouldn't show up there after that. Win or lose, that's a tough spot. Well, this is a chance for Chris Kleiman to rally his bunch and kind of get their season back on track in a spot where you talk about a have to have it, an absolute save your season type of spot here before you hit the road, go to Arizona. Their next game at Arizona, which is on short rest, is not a conference game. They are in the same conference, but that game was scheduled before Arizona joined the Big 12. So that's not a Big 12 sanctioned game. So it's still technically non-conference, but it's a conference foe. you got conference the rest of the way here. This is absolutely a tone setter for the rest of the way for Kansas State to kind of get your season back on track. Every preseason goal that this bunch would want to have, including winning the Big 12 and including potentially making the college football playoff, is still right in front of them. When I look at Army, their loss against FCS Tarleton State is significantly more concerning to me because they had every schedule advantage in the world. 6 days before they played, Tarleton State was out in Portland, Oregon, playing Portland State in 96-degree weather, and then they had to fly home. You had about 48 hours to prepare. Then you're back on the plane to New York. All that travel was just exhausting. I thought it was going to be the Texans that tired out and wore down in the second half, but instead Army's up 24-10 and they can't put the chokehold on them. And Tarleton State goes down and ties it up in the fourth quarter and ends up winning the game on the field. I thought it was really stunning to see how Army played. They were okay offensively. They were moving it a little bit, but Tarleton is not a very, very strong FCS defense. They have a good offense, but their defense is not an elite FCS defense. And I thought Army really struggled at times in situational football when they had to have it on third down. Didn't happen. When they needed to execute in the red zone, it didn't work. Field goal kicking operation was poor. Just critical things from Army that we're not used to seeing the mistakes of. And what I took away from that is something we talked about. I talked about it all summer. I thought Army was going to be down offensively with Bryson Daly gone, Kanye Udo gone. They lost 3 on the offensive line, and the guy scheming it up on the offensive line, Matt Drinkall, is now at Central Michigan. It just looked jerky offensively, and it's a situation now where you have an even more overmatched situation for Army. They're going up against Big 12 athletes. They're on the road. I think Kansas State's front is going to swallow up this option attack. They're going to be able to win the one-on-one battles on the outside against the Army receivers. I don't think the passing game is going to be explosive, and I don't see how Army stays on the field here. So there's motivation. There's all this chirp now about how Kansas State sucks and their season's over and, the players are garbage or whatever else. But this is an absolute spot for them to lay the hammer on Army, and I think it's not going to go well. It could go sideways very quickly for the Black Knights.
Yeah, and I think Dwayne Coleman is going to play, but he's banged up as well, too. So, yeah, I agree. I'm going to bet this, by the way. I agree completely. I think they roll him. I think this is a really tough matchup for Army, too. That Kansas State defensive front, it's like we saw a couple games and we completely forgot what that team is. Like, that's one of the best run defense. That's got to be a top 10, top 15 run defense right there in Kansas State.
Just look at it. Obiazer and Atsunami and the linebackers that they bring back, Bates, Stufflebean. I mean, they've got so many good, talented players in that defensive front seven. And you just kind of saw it with Army and their offensive line, how they were not able to impose their will against Tarleton State. They weren't able to get to the second level on their blocks. The fullback into the A gap is such a staple of that triple option attack, and it just was not humming. It was just so jerky. I was not impressed with what we saw from Jake Rendina. It was just, it's not last year's Army. It's a completely different a team. I think is going to struggle to make a bowl game this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Army under wins was very popular. I think a lot of people agree with that. Now we go on Michigan, Oklahoma. What a football game here. And before you get into it, I think the lead story here is what's going on with this Oklahoma offensive line. Are these guys going to come back? If you haven't followed along, Oklahoma, 2 of their starters sat in the first game, and then the left tackle left after 6 plays. So it's kind of unfortunate. The story of the 2024 season for Oklahoma was just the injury bug, and then kind of carried over to 2025. Now, Venables said that the guard and the other tackle, the 2 other pieces that missed, are supposed to be back for this. But, I mean, college football injury reports are a little weird at times. Do you know anything about the offensive line / what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising. We're not getting a lot of information on the injury reports. There's so much gamesmanship anymore. People are sending out blank injury reports. They're sending it out with "or" at every position. We're not getting it revealed. It'd be nice to see if it would be for guys like you and I that are betting on it, but we're just not seeing the injury reports being truthful. My matchup is these are two teams that I think were clearly looking ahead in week one. I was disappointed with both performances against inferior competition in week one. We start with Michigan and Bryce Underwood in his debut at home under the lights against New Mexico. And it looked great for 2 drives. They go up 14-0 within the blink of an eye. And then it just started to be throttled down, and you could just see the execution and some of the rookie mistakes. And they kind of got pushed around in the middle quarters by New Mexico to the point where you looked up in the fourth quarter with 12 minutes to play, and New Mexico was down 24-14 or 27-17, whatever it was. And they had the ball. And this is a 5-touchdown favorite. And you're like, what in the world is New Mexico doing still hanging around with these guys? How did you not put your foot on the jugular here? Same thing with Oklahoma. I thought that it just kind of looked jerky in the opening quarters for Oklahoma. It didn't really click. Mateer was still trying to find his rhythm with the receivers, and you saw some of the pressure that Illinois State was able to put on him with the linemen out. At the end of the day, it was 21-3 into the fourth quarter. I thought Illinois State defensively did a really good job of just kind of clamping down. Oklahoma didn't run the ball with any explosivity whatsoever. They ended up connecting on a few long pass plays, but I thought that this was a spot for Mateer to kind of go off and dazzle as he did at Washington State, making plays with his legs. Jaden Ott had 1 carry. I mean, I was just stunned at some of the personnel that was not contributing the way that we kind of thought. I thought it would be firing on all cylinders, traditional Oklahoma week one, and it just wasn't. So maybe both of these teams were peeking ahead here. I do have concern about Michigan's offensive line, and I think that will be exposed here by Oklahoma's front seven, and that's really the handicap for me. I think it'll be hard for Michigan to matriculate the ball down the field. I think they're going to struggle in situational football and in third down, and I think you've got this tough road environment now, and it's Underwood's first start. There's a chance that he could crack a little bit under pressure here, and it might not go as expected. If I had to play this game right now, which I haven't at the current time, the only thing I would look to is I would look to go first half under. I think that both these teams will have a feeling out process. We might see punt the first 3 drives, and then both these teams could start to possibly open it up a little bit here. But I'm going to have to see it with real competition. Both of these offensive lines are in question. And so even if they start out by getting a couple first downs, at some point they'll be third and medium, third and long. They won't convert. They'll have to punt it back. First half under is the way I would go. I think we can find a 23.5 or so, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, in agreement with what a lot of what you said, and without knowing, if it was one offensive lineman, okay. We're talking about 3 for Oklahoma. They played most of the opener missing 3 starters on the offensive line. Now, like I said, Venables, he's came out and said 2 of them are going to play. What does that mean? Is that something we can rely on? If I knew all 3 of those offensive linemen were playing, I don't think Oklahoma -5 is a terrible look. A little concerning. I feel like Michigan didn't show us all their cards last week. I mean, Bryce Underwood, according to Pro Football Focus, he attempted 2 passes of 20-plus yards. Now, yeah, you didn't need to against New Mexico. Well, actually, got a little hairy there for a second. You didn't need to against New Mexico, but I promise you that Oklahoma defensive front is going to you're going to need to make throws. If Michigan thinks they're going to go into Oklahoma against this defensive line and hand the ball off, you're not going to win that way. Bryce Underwood needs to make throws. For those of you that aren't familiar with Oklahoma's defense, that defensive front is crazy. They bring back 3 starters on it that were all 320-plus pounds. They were all top 10 on the team in tackling. You know how crazy of an athlete you got to be 320-plus pounds and be in the top 10 of the team in tackling? They had 3 of them. They have monsters on the defensive line.
They're nasty.
Yeah, they're crazy. This Oklahoma defensive line, arguably the best in the country. No one is going into Oklahoma and running the ball on this defensive front. So Bryce Underwood is going to have to make throws if Michigan has a chance of being competitive in this game. Mateer, like you said, the stat line's a little misleading, connected on a couple big ones at the end. You just look at the stat line, you're like, oh, Mateer went off, but he kind of did. He kind of didn't. I'll put Oklahoma up, but if those offensive linemen are out, there's no chance I want to be on Oklahoma. If they're going to be missing 2 of those offensive linemen, I probably would make this game 2.5. So I'll put Oklahoma -5 up because if the offense is healthy, I probably would have this at about a touchdown. But I don't have a bet on this game. I don't feel comfortable putting any money on it without there's just such a toss-up with the offensive line.
Yeah, and just interesting too how the offense just kind of looked jerky. You look at the first 2 possessions of each half for Oklahoma, and they were 3-and-outs. And you look at some of the ways that Illinois State was able to just provide resistance when they shouldn't have. Normally, Oklahoma offenses are putting up 40, 50, 60 points in these FCS openers, and it was 21-3, and it just did not look right. So now you've got a more capable defensive front to put some pressure on you. They could over-pursue, and Mateer could, scramble out of the pocket and take off and create with his legs too. Who really knows, to be seen? But the only thing I would do here is first half under.
All right. So on to the next one. Yeah, also Underwood had a 0% big time throw rate. 0. Like they didn't show us their cards in that one.
No.
Tulsa, New Mexico. You better not be laying the 4 here. Please don't tell me you're laying the 4. If you're on Tulsa, I hope you got it early. I can't. I want to take New Mexico State.
I'm absolutely laying the 4 here.
I knew you were gonna. I knew it.
There's so much that's going into this for me here, but I mean, you saw it on the field with Tulsa and how they played defensively against Abilene Christian. This team played with enthusiasm. They played with energy. It was like a completely different defensive team that we had seen. Last year's Tulsa's defense was just so pathetic in situations where they couldn't get off the field. The defensive intensity was just non-existent, and you just couldn't count on them at all. This, similar to Central Michigan, similar to Florida International, this is a team that's really taking on the mold of their new head coach. This shot of adrenaline is exactly what this program needed. And, I mean, they completely dominated a good FCS team in Abilene Christian. 500 yards of total offense. They were 6.4 yards per play. The defense showed up in situational football. 5 out of 15 on third down was given up. They did really well in the red zone. Tulsa came to play for sure. Now you look at New Mexico State, and their offensive performance was just so jerky against a bottom 100 FCS team in Bryant. It was really concerning to me how this team couldn't move the football. They couldn't score touchdowns. They had a couple of late scores when they were kind of salting the game away, but I have major, major concerns offensively for New Mexico State and why they were unable to really take a step specifically against Bryant. You scored 19 points, but it was 9-3 into the fourth quarter. Logan Fife was just kind of middling, 14 for 31 in the pass game. The run game couldn't open up holes against Bryant, and everybody last year in CAA play ran it on Bryant. Bryant's defense was atrocious, and you're running for 2.5 yards a carry, and you don't have an explosive rush. They had 2 long pass plays, I will say that, but I was just super concerned with New Mexico State just completely dicking around with these guys the entire game, not able to really provide separation until the very end. Tulsa, I mean, I hit them on the openers at -1. I went back for -3.5. I'll be honest with you, this is my margin call this week. I took Tulsa on the alternates -9.5. -9.5, -12.5, -16.5. Tulsa is going to win this game going away. They are much better than New Mexico State. You have an ascending Tulsa team that's motivated with a coach that's connected with his players. And on the other side, you have a program that just has no idea what identity they want to have. Tulsa's going to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns.
All right. So no question in terms of overall vibes, we'll say Tulsa by a mile. And yeah, there's a lot of upside here. There was a lot of positivity in camp, and Trey Lamb's telling everyone he's going to run the air raid offense. And they handed the ball off all game against Abilene Christian. 263 yards rushing. New Mexico State's defense held. Actually, let me ask you something. I'm not an FCS guy, so estimation: Abilene Christian against Bryant. What's the line on a neutral? Like, what's the gap between those two teams? Just
24.
Oh, they're that much better.
Oh yeah, Bryant is a bottom 100 FCS team. They play in the CAA, and the CAA has been really watered down of late as some of the premier teams in the Colonial have left to go to other leagues. Bryant competed for years in the NEC, which is a really, really bad FCS league. Teams like Wagner, Sacred Heart, I think Stonehill is in there now. It's just a really, really bad league. Bryant would be, I would say that line would, on a neutral with Abilene, would be 22.5 or more.
See,
it's that bad.
I knew Abilene Christian was significantly better. I didn't realize it was 3 touchdowns better. So that maybe that changes my opinion a little bit. I don't know much about New Mexico State. I know that they're probably the worst team in the FBS next to Kent State, right? Would you say?
I wouldn't put them down that far, but I would say they're, probably they have to be considered bottom 10. And it's really just, they'll play hard defensively, but they just didn't take that step offensively. Logan Fife was supposed to be the answer. Last year, they had just such atrocious quarterback play, and it didn't get from the looks of what I saw, it just did not get any better. Under 50%. He threw a pick. He just didn't see. It was just so jerky watching this game. They didn't do well on third down. They had very few drives that were matriculated down the field. The one drive in the first half that they had was, resulted in a field goal. They didn't look, tons of 3 and outs, the interception, plenty of punting. It was just, you should have been able to move the ball on Bryant like everybody else did last season, and they just did not have it. I would have major, major concerns if I was New Mexico State here with what I saw offensively.
All right, so that changes things. I didn't realize Bryant was that much worse than Abilene Christian. I will say, I think laying 4.5, 5. Okay, we're going to say you said probably bottom 10 FBS team for New Mexico State. I mean, Tulsa's right there. Tulsa can't be too much higher than that. I'll put New Mexico State up, but I don't know. I'm not going to be betting this one. All right.
It's pretty gross. This is a pretty gross one, I will say.
It is a disgusting pick. All right, Duck from the Action Network. Where can the folks find your stuff? What shows you got going on this week and all that?
Yeah, Action Network. You can find me in the app. You can find 10 to 12 articles a week written up by me on game previews. We do the G5 Deep Dive podcast, which you can find on Spotify, Apple, or within the Action app itself. I host the BetUS live show and active on Twitter. And I'm on your program every week on Thursday nights into Friday mornings, so you can always catch me there also.
Yeah, normally this show will be after Thursday Night Football. Well, actually, after Thursday Night Football, it's me and Sean Green and then Duck. So we got to load. Starting next week, it'll be a loaded Thursday night after the NFL game. This one just happened to be during the end of it, which isn't ideal. But Duck, thanks for joining. Make sure you guys give him a follow on Twitter. Let's get Toast and Spoon in here and talk some baseball.
See you guys later.
Later. All right. No, I'll host. Hey, you're welcome, huh? You're welcome. I'm just a benevolent guy, just giving shit out. That's what I do, though. Look, I haven't lost an NFL bet all season, guys. So,
yeah, I haven't lost a kicking prop all season either. It feels good.
You took a kicking prop today?
Of course I did. Brandon Aubrey minus 145 cash in the first half.
Did you
sweat free? Sweat free.
Yeah. It's that time of year. Toast is called.
It is.
He actually, by the way, I want to bring something up on the screen. Rook, I'll get the poll up for the Nats Cubs. Spoon, how was your day, by the way, while I get this up?
It was a really good day. 2-1 in baseball, and I was on the Cowboys plus 8.5 there at the end. So that was another hit. 3-in-1 day. I'll take it.
You love to see it. So what I'm bringing up on the screen, this is an actual quote. He said this, and he wasn't joking.
Dead serious.
He said, I put an hour of research into my kicking stuff today. He researched for an hour about kicking props for this season.
It was actually probably over an hour, but I didn't want to sound crazy. But
oh no, you don't want to say
I found something that I truly enjoy that nobody else is. I feel like nobody else is trying to take advantage of that market.
Yeah, no one's zeroing in on the kicker market. You're right. You got it
cornered.
No one has their finger on the pulse. You got that shit. You got that shit cornered. All right, we got 15 baseball games, so let's get into it. Spoon, Javier Assad, getting the start. What do you think of your Cubs here?
It's Wrigley Field. The wind is blowing out. You could have got a 9.5 at open here. I think the best play probably was that 9.5. It's 10.5s everywhere right now. I think Jake Irvin is somebody that is very liable to give up 4 or 5 runs just about every time he touches the plate. 6 earned runs versus the Mets in Kansas City. Tampa Bay just got 4 off him. Philadelphia got him out before the 3rd inning. I think the Cubs bats, even without Kyle Tucker, find a way to put a couple crooked innings up there. I'm not going to chase the steam and get on that 10.5. Assad can pitch pretty well. He's only 4 starts into his season right now. I could see him pitching decent versus this Nationals and not necessarily getting there. I'm going to be off this game, but my lean's to the over.
Lean over, Toes?
Yeah, it would only be Washington or pass for me. I don't feel like that number 10.5, maybe 9.5 I can get behind, but I mean, I don't feel like yes, the weather is going to be Chicago weather. It's pretty decent with the 15 plus mile an hour winds. I get that, but let's not forget that neither one of these offenses can be trusted in any way, shape, or form. So I'm well aware of the weather. I'm well aware both starting pitches are bad, Washington bullpen, all that. I still feel like 11 runs to cash an over is a lot with these two teams, but it would only be Washington for me. I just don't feel like the Cubs should be laying this price, but I'm not going to bet it.
All right, let's move on to the next one. White Sox Tigers, Flaherty against Shane Smith. Toast?
It would be over or pass for me. I don't know if I can actually bet it because I just don't know what to think of Jack Flaherty. Over his last, 5 starts it is, he's had 3 bad ones and 2 good ones. But prior to those, and I think that you might have actually talked about this before you went on your college football sabbatical, that Jack Flaherty really wasn't pitching as bad as everybody made him out to be.
He wasn't. He was all right at home.
Right. So it's for me, yes, some of the numbers aren't great, and the White Sox have been raking. Obviously, I put up another big number in Minnesota tonight. So that's where I'm there. I think that they can score runs, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Flaherty came out here and shoved after, he looked really, really bad against Kansas City and then went on the road and pitched really well against them. So, and he was fine his previous home start against the Astros. So you take out a couple bad starts, he's been more than fine. But, and then this Cubs team, they should be able to feast on Shane Smith. Obviously one of these guys that struggles at lefties, but it's the Tigers at home with guys that struggle versus lefties. And it's an early start, a game where a spot where they usually score runs. So it would only be over for me. I actually might play this.
Guys, if you're jumping on Kansas State, it looks like they're all flashing at 17.5. I'm taking it right now. That's why I have my phone out. But go ahead, Spoon.
You said that on the show. Duck's on that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the time, there were a few 17s. It looks like there's only 1 or 2 17s left, so I'm getting that right now. Go ahead, Spoon.
Yeah, I can't get there with the over. I just don't trust this White Sox offense to continue scoring runs the way they have been recently. As you pointed out, Flaherty has been pitching a lot better at home. His last start versus Kansas City was not great, but before that versus Houston Astros, he went 7 innings, no earned run baseball. I think he kind of returns to form there. Shane Smith, I have looked for ways to back this guy in the second half of the season. He's pitched into the 7th inning in back-to-back games, but I just can't get there today. This would be a spot where I'd lay a -1 with the Detroit Tigers, but I'm not actually going to bet this game.
Tigers -1 or pass?
Yep.
I think both of these offenses are question marks. You might agree with me. I wouldn't be surprised if this was 6-5 or 1-1. It really wouldn't surprise me either way.
All right,
those AL Central enders.
I know, exactly.
Brewers Pirates.
Ooh. I wish TV Jones was here because he's been betting the Pirates with us, but it's Quinn Priester day. So obviously we know where he's going, but I kind of want to bet the Pirates, Spoon. I don't know about you, but this team at home is in plays at a completely different level, and I'm well aware how good the Brewers are. Not trying to take anything away from them, but they're going to continue to take money. They've already started taking money. If I can get Pittsburgh at plus 140, I might take a stab with them. So they're coming off the Dodgers series. It's not a spot that I like from them, but on offensively, they've been just fine. Offensively versus right-handed pitching, they've been fine, and at home, especially over the last month or so. So for me, I feel like you really have to kind of prove it to me before I start laying juice in Pittsburgh. And when I say prove it to me, I mean at least play there once or twice and look good. So Quinn Priester's been really good. I'll give you that. But at the same time, I really feel like this Pirates team is being undervalued at home right now. So it would only be the Pirates to me. If I get 140, I'm in.
Spoon?
Yeah. This seems like a spot where the Pirates are coming off a really big series versus the Dodgers. They're all going to be fat and happy after that. Some really nice baseball played by the Pirates there to get the sweep, I believe. But the Brewers haven't lost with Quinn Priester in, I don't know, 20 starts now. It's a ridiculous number. I think he goes out there, pitches well, keeps this team in a position to win another baseball game, and the Brewers' bats continue to show up. Pirates won tonight. They didn't have to use their best bullpen arms because they were unavailable. They will still be on 2 of 3 nights tomorrow, so nobody's going to be out there super fresh. I think the Brewers find a way to win this game. I got it at minus 145.
Brewers at minus 145. Next. Mets Reds in Cincinnati, huge series.
This is insanely huge.
The Reds are chasing the Mets for the last wild card spot, and they're like 4 games back. So if the Reds sweep the Mets here, we've got a real battle for the last wild card spot. And if the Mets take 2 of 3, they really put a gap between them and the Reds for that last spot. Go ahead.
I will be betting the Mets tomorrow. I think this is a really, really cheap price for a team that's playing very, very well right now. Cincinnati is not playing well right now. I think we're getting this good price because Andrew Abbott's on the mound. But, I mean, he's been really good this year. But, I mean, over his last 6 starts, I mean, it's been kind of mediocre at best. At least not the Andrew Abbott that has like a 2.65 ERA on the season. So, I mean, the St. Louis start, 5 innings, 2 runs. That could have been a lot worse. Got smoked on the road in Arizona, pitched really well against Milwaukee, but 7 2/3 against Philadelphia isn't bad. But, I mean, 4 runs against Chicago and 6 2/3. Atlanta got to him for a couple runs. So, and my point to all that is I think that this Mets offense is clearly better than all those teams that I just mentioned by far. This Mets team is the best offense in Major League Baseball on the road, and it's not even really close. And they're one of the best teams versus left-handed pitching over the last month and a half or so. They smoked Luzardo. They smoked Christopher Sanchez. They smoked Joey Wentz. They got 3 runs and 4 1/3 off of Mackenzie Gore. That's just their last 5. Robbie Ray pitched well against them. There's a couple of zeros in there. I'm not trying to make it sound like they hit everybody, but 80% of the guys from the left-hand side, they are just absolutely smoking. And even with Helsley being terrible, this Mets bullpen has been pretty good for them. I mean, at least as far as the numbers wise. And can you compare them to a Cincinnati bullpen where do we really trust Pagan and Santin unless we absolutely have to? Not a chance. So, and we're going to get David Peterson off of an absolutely terrible performance in Miami. The last time he looked like shit this year, damn it, I was really trying not to cuss. This year at home against Atlanta, he gave up 6 runs in 3 1/3. He went on the road the next start to Washington, went 8 innings and only gave up 1 run. Yes, the Reds are a little bit better than Washington, but not by a ton. I mean, they are, but not by a ton. So I just think this is a way, way too cheap of a price to get to the Mets. I've already bet the Mets.
You agree, Spoon?
I do agree. I do have some concerns with David Peterson. Obviously, coming off that blow up versus Miami, it's kind of hard to necessarily want to back a guy. He just had another blow up on the 13th versus Atlanta, didn't make it out of the 4th inning, gave up 6 earned runs in that game. But he followed that up with a great start, like Toast alluded to. I think he can do the same thing here. He saw Cincinnati on the 20th of July, went 6 innings, 0 earned runs. So he knows this lineup decently enough. The Reds haven't been getting to lefties. They got to Sanchez and Suarez in Philadelphia in the bank on offensive friendly days. But besides that, they haven't been able to get more than 3 earned runs off anybody. And that was Matthew Liberatore, a guy I value a lot less than Peterson. Just looking at the Reds' recent performances, they lost 2 of 3 to the Blue Jays, but they scored 9 runs in back-to-back losses. So their bats are still showing up. Andrew Abbott, he's not a guy you generally need to get 9 runs for to win a baseball game. So I haven't actually bet this game, but I have a strong lean to the Mets.
Was just a quick question. I'm dead serious. Was the Blue Jays using a position player late in that game where they scored like 5 runs late? Let me see. It doesn't matter.
I don't know on that one for sure. The first game, I don't believe so. I was on the Blue Jays in one of them, and I was like, "This is free out the gate," and then it was just back and forth, 4-run inning kind of things.
Is it true that it's bad sportsmanship to score runs on the position player?
I don't think so.
That Spoon was trying to tell me that. That's no.
You're not supposed to try to take him deep.
Why? That's what I'm saying. Crush the ball.
That's how you win arbitration cases if you're a baseball player.
Yeah,
because it's all numbers.
Yeah, your numbers. That's like reflection of your salary. Like, I'm swinging. I'm putting it out.
Swinging, yeah,
I'm putting it out. Spoon. Blue Jays Yankees in Yankee Stadium. What's the gap between the Blue Jays and the Yankees? It's like a shitload, right?
It's not a shitload. I think it's 3 games or 4.
Oh, that's it. This is huge then.
Yeah, it's not.
For some reason, I thought the Blue Jays had like 9 or 10 games.
3 games.
Oh, this is a
very huge series. Yeah,
huge series. All right, I'm all ears. Spoon, what do you like here?
So the Yankees played a huge series versus the Blue Jays in Toronto earlier this season, and Toronto played really well at home that series. I think this is a spot where the Yankees play really well at home in this series. Cam Schlittler is a guy I've really liked to back on the mound. He struggles a little bit more with lefties than he does righties. That's a decent thing to have when you're facing this Blue Jays lineup. You're only going to see 3 lefties here, probably Lucas leading off. Kevin Gausman pitched great his last time out versus Milwaukee. 7 innings pitched, just 1 earned run, one of the best lineups in baseball, but he's shown the ability to give up some runs. 5 earned runs to Kansas City, 4 earned runs to Miami. The way these Yankees bats are swinging right now, I'm not trying to get in front of them. Every time they see a right-hander, they're putting at least 3 runs up on the board, if not 5 or 6. And I think they can continue to do that tomorrow. The bullpen situation, I'm not in love with. It looks like Luke Weaver's probably going to be unavailable, but every other arm should be there. Obviously, huge series at home. I'm going to lay the -135 with the Yankees.
Hate to see it. Toronto big for me and the over. Played 2 bets in this game. So we'll just start with Schlittler. Nate, find me a team that's good offensively that he's pitched against. The White Sox, the Nationals, the Rays, Minnesota, Houston, Miami. Just stop me whenever. Toronto. That was so there finally. So they finally got to one. So I think this is a huge step up in class for Schlittler. Not to mention the fact you have the Yankees coming home from a kind of not a fully West Coast road trip, call it a Midwest road trip, but they played obviously like we just talked about 3 games versus Houston, which was another huge series for them. The reason I play the over is because I agree with Spoon. Their bats have been fantastic, and the last 2 times that Kevin Gausman has been in Yankee Stadium, it's been absolutely terrible. 7 innings pitched, 11 runs. It's been really bad. 11 runs on 11 hits, by the way. But he was like walking guys. I mean, he really hasn't had control issues over his last 7 starts. So unless that just kind of pops up out of nowhere, I don't expect Kevin Gausman to get shelled like he has the last 2 times. And then Spoon mentioned it. I think that Toronto has a huge advantage in the bullpen, regardless of who it is. I know that Hoffman has had his struggles, but the Yankees bullpen is not one to be trusted in any way, shape, or form. And they're not going to have one of their best arms, like he said, in Weaver. Another reason that I like the over is going to be really good weather. Our friends over at Ballpark Pal have like a 37% increase for home runs. So I did play over 8.5, -115, and I played the Blue Jays on the money line at -120.
Wow. In your face, Spoon.
See how they do against Schlittler tomorrow.
I mean, it's the best offense in baseball. They should be all right. This isn't the Washington Nationals.
Dodgers in Baltimore.
What is this number? I know you're hosting, so it's hard for me. But what is this number, everybody? I mean, I just told you guys yesterday, this Dodgers team is a bunch of AAA guys. Will Smith is now out, so that means Dalton Rushing is coming up. I mean, this is a triple. This number makes no sense to me. Am I crazy, Spoon? Am I just being a Padres homer and thinking that this Dodgers team is ridiculous and this number is ridiculous?
Orioles suck, dude.
Not right now.
They're going to Baltimore with their tail between their legs after that Pirates
series. They had their tail between their legs for 2 months.
Dean Kramer, kind of hard to trust. He either goes out there, gives you a great game, or gets absolutely shelled, and there's not really an in-between. 7 innings versus Miami, Tampa Bay, just 1 earned run baseball, but Toronto got him real quick for 3. Philadelphia got 4 off him. Houston got 6. San Francisco 7. And the 6 and 7 were in his last 2 outings. So it's really hard to paint a picture where he comes out here and pitches amazing versus this Dodgers offense. But if he can do it versus Houston, if he can do it versus Seattle, maybe he can go out there and keep Baltimore in a position to win this game. I had trouble getting to the ticket window here. Obviously, I think the Dodgers are overpriced here, but after losing 3 games to Pittsburgh, I can't expect they find another way to lose a game to Baltimore. But just watching Baltimore play baseball this last week and a half or so, they look energized. They look like they're playing a lot harder than they have for a while, and this is pretty big plus money. I guess you can put me up for Baltimore on the full game, but I'm not going to bet this.
I want to see what the money does, but I mean, if we're talking about it being serious tail between their legs, you don't think losing 2 out of 3 against Arizona at home, a team that's not even close to the playoffs, you wouldn't think they would kind of get up for a lowly Pittsburgh team. So I'm just waiting for the Dodgers to get up. I agree that sooner or later it's going to happen. But offensively, they haven't really been good for almost a month now. At least, especially the last 2 weeks, they're, a bottom third offense overall. They got to Brandon Pfaadt, who cares? Everybody does. And they got to Nick Martinez and Hunter Green in his home start. But it's just, I can't get out of my head Zach Gallen going 6 innings scoreless. I can't get out of my head that they couldn't put anybody on, or they could get people on in Pittsburgh and not come through with guys with bases loaded. So, and this has been a theme for the Dodgers going on months now. And again, that bottom of the lineup with Conforto, Pages, Kim, Rojas, and rushing, that's AAA guys. Yes, Pages has had his moments, but this is a AAA lineup. This is not the Dodgers, the billionaire boys club that we all know and love. And this Baltimore team reminds me of how I thought of Chicago, the White Sox earlier in the year. Yes, it's not going to be pretty at times, but all these younger guys, the more that they play, the more they're going to get comfortable. We see guys like Jeremiah Jackson come out of nowhere and start producing for this team. I just feel like there's all the values on Baltimore right here. So I want to see if the Dodgers take money. I don't know if they have very much at all, but especially if I get Baltimore anywhere plus 145 or whatever, I'll be betting Baltimore.
No, someone asked, did I post the video for the NFL game? No, I will. Give me about an hour and a half after this. I posted, there's 2 college games too. So the college video is up there's a couple FPS games. That video's up. The Chiefs video, it'll be up late tonight.
Good time of year. No sleep, but good time.
Sleep is for the weak.
Agreed.
Phillies, Marlins, and Miami. Toast.
Spoon, you can take this one. I got lucky with the Phillies today. I don't think I can go. I don't think I can go back to the well with them today or tomorrow.
I think Phillies win tomorrow. Christopher Sanchez has been just elite all season. Maybe you can poke holes in his road starts. His last 4, the Mets got 6 off him. Cincinnati got 3 off him. Texas just got 1, but the White Sox got 4. He's pitching really deep into all these games. Some of those runs are coming in the 6th and 7th inning. So I don't think the Phillies find a way to lose to the Marlins tomorrow, especially a team like the Marlins. They're 29th in baseball in WRC plus versus lefties over the past month. The only guy they put a crooked inning up on is David Peterson. And that seems like sort of an outlier start when we look at it a little further away. Belozo is not somebody I'm running to the window to back. I guess you could put me up on the board for the over. Maybe Miami finds a few ways to get a run or 2 off Sanchez, and the Phillies just go to work on this Miami bullpen and Belozo.
Yeah, 100% agree. You can put the over up for me. I have really no interest betting this game. Like I said, I felt like I got really lucky with the Phillies today, shutting out the Brewers. And now they got to get on the road and play a Miami team that obviously at home isn't the same, but feisty, I guess. But I agree. I still think Philly wins, but I'm not paying that price.
Next. Mariners, Braves in hot Atlanta. Chris Sale, Spoon.
I like the plus money with the Mariners here. It's really hard, though. Chris Sale, he's looked really elite on the mound. 6 innings pitched versus Philadelphia, just gave up 1 earned run. Pitched in the 9th versus the Mets, just no earned runs in that game. Milwaukee, 7th inning pitched, just 1 earned run. Arizona, 1 earned run. Philadelphia, 0. Every single time he goes out there, he's given a quality start. A lot of these are going back quite a while, though. He's only had 1 start back since being healthy. So maybe there's a few question marks with him, but I think Logan Gilbert finds a way to start pitching a lot better in the second half of the season. He looked really good versus the Athletics, gave up a couple runs to Cleveland in his last start, but I think he's starting to turn a corner. You can put me up for Seattle money line. I don't know if I actually get there. Chris Sale's still kind of a question mark coming back from injury, and I just don't know how healthy he is.
I will be betting Seattle. I'm just going to wait because this line continues to move. Opened up around 110, 112. You can get Seattle around 119 right now, 120. I just want to see where this line goes. If it starts to dip, I'll play it at 120. But Atlanta has been playing better baseball than they were at the beginning of the season or a couple months ago. I will give them credit. But at the same time, I do think that Profar was out a little bit or whatever, so that does help. But I agree with Spoon that Chris Sale might be a little bit of a wild card, but I think that you can just pencil him in for 5 or 6 innings of 1 or 2 run baseball, which is fine because I think the real question is what do we get out of Logan Gilbert? Really hasn't been as the Logan Gilbert that we know and love, as I like to say, but he has started to pitch well. Had that really bad start against Philadelphia on the road, which does suck. But 6 innings, 3 runs against Cleveland, 6 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs against Baltimore. That's his last 3 on the road. I mean, it's not terrible. And I just don't know if I like this Braves team to get to him, especially in the spot that they're in. They're coming home. I mean, they're going to have a day off, but they're coming home from like an 11-game road trip where they went down to Miami, then up to Philadelphia, then over to Chicago, and now they're back home. I do think the Mariners have a bullpen advantage. I'm well aware how bad that the Seattle has been playing, but at the same time, the Braves have been playing just as bad, and they're laying almost 150. So I don't even think there's a huge starting pitching advantage. I think everything's a wash, and you can kind of give Seattle a little bit of an edge in the bullpen. So I will be betting Seattle. I just don't know what the number is. I think if they win one of those games in Tampa Bay, this game is closer to like 125 for Atlanta or something like that.
Cleveland, Tampa, Ian Seymour, Gavin Williams. Toast.
I want to take Cleveland here. I guess I don't really understand the price. I continue to say this all year. I truly believe that Gavin Williams is one of the more underrated pitchers in Major League Baseball. Just continues to go out there and pitch extremely well. Had a bad start on the road against Texas, but Arizona, the Mets, the Royals all pitched well on the road. I mean, I'm not worried about Gavin Williams. So you can poke holes in it and say that he struggles with righty bats. That's cool. I mean, you have 1, 2, I think I counted 3 bats in that lineup for the Rays that are right-handed. There's a couple guys that switch like Magnum or whatever, but I mean, really, who cares? So I just don't know where Tampa Bay has an advantage pitching wise. I mean, Seymour's going to be the primary. He's been pretty good for them. I can't say anything really bad about him. But at the same time, it's teams like, I mean, coming off that Washington game, I mean, what do we really expect from him? And he's only going to go 4 innings, and then you're going to get a whole bunch of shots at whatever Tampa Bay brings in this bullpen. I'm going to be betting Cleveland. I just don't know. I might play first 5, but I think the first 5 price is like 15 cents cheaper, and I don't think that Tampa Bay has that big of an advantage in the bullpen. So you can put Cleveland up for me, but we'll see.
Spoon?
Yeah, Gavin Williams looked really great in his last start versus Seattle there. 7 innings pitched, just the 1 earned run. He's got the stuff to be able to do that every single time he pitches, and I think he can pitch well in Tampa Bay tomorrow. As far as the Cleveland Guardians bats go, I'm not that worried about them showing up. Ian Seymour's a pretty good young pitcher, and you got Griffin Jacks on the mound opening. He's probably my favorite reliever in their bullpen right now. I'm looking at how to play the under here. I think I'm going to take the full game under 8.5 minus 120. This park, we think of it as being pretty offensive. It's built just like New York Stadium is, but it's down there in Florida. So a lot of times in the earlier games, you have the wind blowing out. The wind's blowing in. It gets almost up to 10 miles an hour blowing in tomorrow. Temperatures a little bit lower, down in the low 80s. I don't think it's going to be that conducive to run scoring. And the Guardians bats, who are dead last in baseball over the last 30 days, and the Rays, who have to score off Gavin Williams, I think this is a recipe for an under.
Next game. And that game is Twins Royals in Kansas City. Michael Wacha. Pablo Lopez? Is that dead ass? No, he's not, bro. I might have to place an MLB bet. What are the Royals trading at right now?
I got minus 134 when I bet it.
I'm down to come out of retirement and
You do love Michael Wacha too. You have no problem backing Michael Wacha.
I
I
mean,
think FanDuel still has it.
if there was somebody that can get me out of retirement, it's either Pablo Lopez or Johnny Cueto. I'd come out to slap a quick run line down for Cueto. So yeah, I'll put it up. Royals.
Go ahead, Spoon. If you've already bet it, I didn't bet it, but
Pablo Lopez making his first start back, coming out of AAA. A lot of these guys making their first start back have not looked sharp, and even if Lopez had been out there for the last 5 or 6 games, I would be looking for ways to fade him. Michael Wacha, not in love with his last 2 starts versus Detroit. They got 7 earned runs off him in 2 starts, 13 hits in those 2 games, 10 and 2/3 innings. So not great, but before that, he'd been really consistent. That Detroit lineup matched up pretty well with him, struggled a little more with lefties. I think he can pitch well to this Twins lineup. There's not a lot of bats I'm scared of at this point in the season, and Kansas City's bats, I think they have the ability to show up against somebody like Pablo Lopez. Bullpen situation, they're fine. I think minus 134 is mispriced. I think it closes heavier than that.
The best Pablo Lopez start of all time was when me, Toast, and Kamish did a show. And on the show, Toast and Kamish were telling me how good Pablo Lopez was going to pitch.
no, it was Kamish.
Yes, it was mostly Kamish, yeah. And I was like, whatever. Cleveland's going to be up 4-0 after 5. I was wrong.
In Seattle, too. I'll never forget that.
I was wrong. They were up 8-0 after 5.
No, the best part, and then he would come on every week and try to defend him. He would just get shelled and shelled and shelled.
Pablo Lopez has some history on this show, man.
Good.
You're not backing Pablo, are you?
Hell no. This team can't even. I mean, they got kind of beat good by the White Sox. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah. So in all those games. So it would only be Kansas City for me. I haven't bet it yet because they're playing like dog water as well. But at this and their bullpen really, really scares me right now. But it would only be Kansas City.
Next.
If you're in, I'm in.
I don't think we have lines for this one, Houston.
Nothing. I tried. Unless Circuit has
Is it really Hunter Brown, Merrill Kelly? Why are there no lines? That's a cool game.
I was kind of trying to figure that out myself. I don't think that you might not see Merrill Kelly. That's just pure speculation.
Hunter Brown. So odds logic is that Hunter Brown is the one that's unconfirmed.
Interesting.
That's what I see as well.
All right, so let's just skip it if we don't know who's. Giants, Cardinals at Busch. Spoon?
McGreevy starting for the Cardinals. Won a couple games here. I think they can get a win tomorrow versus San Francisco. San Francisco's traveling from Colorado. They had a day off in between, so maybe the effects aren't as pronounced as they usually are. But I think this is just a minus 112 spot where I can lay it with the Cardinals. Obviously at home, this ballpark isn't what it once was as far as the fans. You have half-empty stadiums, but a young rookie on the mound who's been pitching all right. I think some people show up to see this game. I think the Cardinals find a way to win some baseball games at the end of the season, get this team closer to 500. Not a huge Carson Seymour guy. Went out in his last start, gave up quite a few runs to the Baltimore Orioles, 4 earned runs on 5 hits. I think Cardinals can get a few runs off him, not in love with their bullpen either. So give me the Cardinals money line, minus 112.
You agree, Toast?
Absolutely not. Giants for me. I love the Giants tomorrow. I don't know how many people are going to be in the stands for Carson Seymour, Michael McGreevy, but if they do pack the stands for the first time in 2 months, so be it. But we have San Francisco, who's like the best team in baseball right now at essentially a pick 'em. And the only thing negative that we can say about San Francisco is they're coming from Colorado and they had a day off. So I'm not trying to go to bat and say that Carson Seymour is some fantastic pitcher or anything like that, but the Giants are playing amazing, and he gave up some runs against Baltimore, who's been pretty damn good right now, especially lately. And it's not the Giants that winning games. They're winning games, and they're scoring a shit ton of runs in these games. They have in multiple series now. They put 12 up off the 12 on the Cubs one game, 15 on Baltimore, 13 on Baltimore, 10 on Colorado, 8, 7. I get that those games were in Colorado, but the 13 and the 15s were in San Francisco. So that offense is absolutely humming right now. And let's not forget that St. Louis can't hit at all. So I don't understand this price. If I go down because I'm getting San Francisco at essentially plus money or very close to it, that's all good with me.
Call the Giants the best team in baseball.
Playing right now, yeah. They're it's not, I don't even think it's a question.
Oh, it's a question and an answer. The answer is no.
Oh, dude, they are playing. I'm telling you right now, they're playing good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's electric. Padres, there are lines opening now. Oh, wait, no, there's. All right, Circa has this minus 222 and super. Yeah, no. This one's weird. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong freaking game. My bad.
I was just about to say.
I don't know if there's lines open for this one.
I saw Circa pop an 11. I don't see it listed now. I like that under 11 for this game, but we can move on.
All right.
All I can say is that Nick Pivetta, terrible history in Colorado. So do not lay the number with the Padres. I repeat, do not lay a big number with the Padres.
Mason Barnett against Soriano. Angels, A's. Toast, your thoughts?
I really want to play the Angels, but I'm just kind of priced out. I like Soriano. There's times that I try to fade him, but most of those times are on the road. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, he's been pitching just fantastic. So for me, I just don't know what to make of this Athletics team. They're one of the best road offenses in Major League Baseball so far this year, but they have slowed down a little bit lately. And I really don't like their pitching situation with Barnett and then the bullpen behind him. I mean, their bullpen hasn't been bad. I wasn't me trying to take a shot at their bullpen, but you're going to be, I don't know how much you're going to get out of this kid. And then you're going to be asking a lot out of him to try to, or that bullpen to try to hold down this Angels team that can score runs at times and has been, again, one of those feisty teams. So it would only be the Angels for me. There's not a chance in hell I lay 155.
Because the A's are too feisty, you said.
That's one reason, correct.
It's good analysis. Spoon?
Thank you.
I was looking at an over in this game. Soriano has pitched worse at home than he has on the road this season. He's got a 5.11 ERA. Recently saw this Athletics team gave up 5 earned runs, 9 base runners just 3 starts ago. So I think they'll be able to get some runs off him. If you look at their statistics versus Singers, his most used pitch, they're the number 2 team in baseball over the last 30 days. Really been getting to sinker ballers. Mason Barnett coming out of the PCL. His numbers don't look pretty, but very rarely do you see a PCL pitcher with good underlying metrics and stuff in those parks. So not a huge red flag. His fastball tops out around 95. Nothing too special. He's their number 11 prospect. So it's not like this is the top guy coming out of AAA. They just need a starter here with Jacob Lopez hitting the IL. I think the Angels bats, even without Trout healthy in there, find a way to get some runs. I'm looking at this over 9. I haven't bet it yet, but it's something I could see this being a 5-4 game kind of after 6 innings.
Yeah, especially with a feisty team like the A's.
Well, they're feisty. And as far as Trout's concerned, like, he's like dealing with a skin infection. It's just so weird. Like, just another reason why I can't bet the Angels. But and by the way, this is going to be the 4th time that the A's have seen Soriano. So another reason not to lay it.
A's are going to win that game.
Oh, I know.
Bastin in the desert.
Do you know much about this kid, Spoon? I didn't really get a chance to look at him, so I'm not going to act like I do.
I do not.
Okay.
I started getting into this game. Totally, you're talking about?
Yeah, he's the kid that started in single A and now he's pitching in the majors. Supposed to be
for his major league start, the biggest thing I circled was his velocity stepped up like 2 miles an hour from average in the minors. I wondered if he could really repeat that or if it was just sort of a short thing. I did watch that start. It looked like he had trouble throwing his other pitches for strikes. That fastball he was really overpowering everybody with. But when he was trying to go to that changeup or anything else, it was just missing outside the zone and they were laying off it because it looked so much different than his fastball. He's still a college guy. Like, he's pitching on 6 days rest every time. so we won't see him in the normal rotation, but that fastball looked really hard to hit in that first start. I kind of had the over circled here. I didn't know if we could really. Is Boston should be laying minus 125 to anybody right now without Roman Anthony in that lineup? That's a huge loss for that team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Guys played incredible baseball all season long. I think minus 125 with a Red Sox pitcher that's a rookie on the mound. I get it's Eduardo Rodriguez on the other side, but price seems like it's wrong. You should probably play the Diamondbacks at this price, but I have the over circled just because even without Anthony, I think Eduardo Rodriguez can give up quite a few runs, and I think that Toley's kind of a one-trick pony with that fastball right now. I don't know that these Diamondbacks still got some really good bats at the top of this lineup. Can't get a few runs off him.
It would only be Boston for me. You took the words out of my mouth. It's kind of hard to love them as much without Roman Anthony in the lineup because obviously, like you said, he's been phenomenal for them. This Peyton Toll kid, or however you say his last name, I apologize if that's not how you say it, but I know that he was good. I mean, I know that he went to TCU. He was a first or second round pick. So the talent is obviously there. It's just, I don't really know what to expect. The strikeout stuff is there. That first start against Pittsburgh, 5 innings, 5 1/3, 8 strikeouts. That was Pittsburgh on the road, so take that, I guess, with a little bit of a grain of salt. But Eduardo Rodriguez has been just an absolute gas can for the most part. He found ways to pitch good against Colorado, and yes, the Dodgers start looks good on paper, but if you've been watching baseball for the last month and a half, is it really that impressive to shut down this Dodgers offense right now? I don't think so. So it would only be Boston for me. Do I really want to pay 125 with this rookie ? I don't know. But if this line goes down and Arizona takes money and I get Boston closer to like 115, 110, I probably look their way.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm going to go I'll get that Chiefs-Chargers video up. It'll be late tonight, though, so you might probably see it in the morning. Make sure you give these guys a follow on Twitter. Oh, and if you're interested in placing any college football bets for tomorrow night, there's a few games. I went through them right here. So if you want to hear me go through the two FBS games for tomorrow night, it's right there in the comments. Everyone, have a